Hello and welcome to this video on feeder roots and taproots. This is a short video on how and why these roots are important for bonsai and how to improve them. The first thing is to clarify these two terms. Feeder roots are also known as non-woody roots. These access fresh water, nutrients and minerals. The taproot is a form of woody root. Roots will grow wherever the environment is favorable. They require water, oxygen, minerals, support, and warmth. These requirements are normally always in the upper few parts of the soil, generally where the soil is darkest. These two root types are important in bonsai and serve two very different purposes in both bonsai and nature. In a normal tree, the taproots are an anchoring point, much like a carrot. They also access deep nutrients and water, over or falling down, due to wind and land movement. It is common in oak, walnut and hornbeam, to name a few. The primary purpose of these roots is to support and anchor the tree. They also provide water and mineral transport as well as carbohydrate storage. These are also known as the term striker roots. These roots grow vertically downwards until they encounter an obstacle. They then form a second layer of roots deeper in the soil. These roots function as water and food storage areas for the tree, and for this reason, they are well protected and deeply buried. Feeder roots are a slightly different story. Area of roots. This allows for greater access and uptake of nutrients and water, the primary function of feeder roots. Evergreen trees generally don't have this, but they may have a mycorrhizae, a fungus which lives on and with the feeder roots, normally in a symbiotic manner. For bonsai, this varies considerably from species to species and may need special care in each case, but understanding that the primary purpose of feeder roots is to access water and nutrients. This can also be why you will find plants that are pot-bound if they have been in a nursery for a very long period of time. Given the above information, each root type and tree must be considered in the context of the three big stages of bonsai: growing, training, and the bonsai pot. For growing bonsai, the taproot is useful if it is in a pot, but not in the ground as you need to remove it later. You also want a large amount of feeder roots at this point. This leads to faster growth and thicker trunks. This also minimizes the amount of care you need to take in making sure the tree is kept up with nutrients and water. This is a concept that applies to Nebari as well. Nebari can be defined as the way the trunk flares at the base of the trunk and where the roots begin. These are also where the surface roots of the bonsai tree are. Tap and feeder roots are good for developing this. The more root mass on the bottom, the more growth there will be above the surface. This gives more opportunity for development of the tree and trunk, branching, ramification, and more. However, the taproot is useful here for protecting the tree from harsh conditions, like seasonal heat changes. If you're growing trees in the ground, it can also help to secure them from environmental pressure, but as said previously, you would then need to remove it later. For training, it is a slightly different story. The taproot is now a hindrance. It is space-consuming, unwieldy, and serves no functional purpose. The tree is likely to either be in a pot, or will be in a pot in the near future. This may not be a formal bonsai pot, but it will be something similarly constrained. For this reason, taproots are unnecessary in bonsai. The trees will be deprived of a surplus of water and nutrients both now and when in the formal bonsai pot, and therefore the taproots do not serve any particular use. Like the early stages of growing a bonsai tree, the feeder root system is key. When training, you want a lot of growth and development. This gives you new branches, back budding, leaves, and ultimately a structure closer to what you want in the end. This training stage will be high in fertilizer and water, which can be taken up by the fine feeder root network. But this also has a second effect. These roots are fine and weak by comparison. They cannot take a strong fertilizer. The nitrogen content will burn the roots. Therefore, a slow-release fertilizer and a liquid fertilizer should be used in conjunction. More of this fertilizer and more of the potting mix which supports the plant can be put into the container you are using if the taproot has been removed. Eventually the idea would be to take this tree and transfer it into a formal pot. When it comes to this final stage of potting a bonsai tree and the root structure you need, you'll find the details in this video. Thank you for watching this video. Please post any comments, questions or suggestions you may have below.